everyone, so today I wanted to share with you my first impressions of the new Urban Decay Vice 4 palette. I was very excited when I saw that this was coming out. I am a fan of Urban Decay, and I do admit that it's been a while since I've purchased anything from them as far as like palettes and stuff is concerned, because I don't know, I just feel like some of them are just okay. I didn't really get into a couple of the other Vice palettes. I have the original Vice palette that came out I think back in 2012, so it's been a couple of years. I didn't get the second one. I don't know exactly when that one came out. I don't feel like the second one really did anything for me. And the third one I actually got specifically for a video tutorial that a viewer of mine had asked if I could do a tutorial for her with it, and so I went out and bought it because obviously I can't do a video if I don't have it. So I just feel like the palettes, it just depends on what you're looking for. A lot of Urban Decay palettes that are like the Vice palette or like Book of Shadows or little, you know, holiday things, they're going to have a mixture of wearable colors and they're going to have mixtures of brighter shades. And it's just going to be whether or not that suits your needs and your preference. It's not for everyone. The palettes that are more like that everyone can get some good use out of would be like the Naked palettes, Naked Basics palettes, the, you know, Naked 1, 2, and 3. Those types of palettes are going to be more everyday. You're going to get more use out of it than something like this, unless you're looking for something with brighter colors. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into the palette. So this is the packaging. Really pretty, sort of broken glass effect to it. I like the whole shattered look. I think it's different. I like how it has that sort of like, I don't know, this like duochrome holographic sort of look to it. When the light hits it, it catches the light really nicely. I do have to mention that you will see fingerprints on this like sparkly stuff here, but this is, in my opinion, the best packaged or the best looking Vice palette. Like I said, I only have the first one and the third one. So this is the fourth one. Recently was launched on the Urban Decay website and it retails for $60. And as all Vice palettes, you get 20 eyeshadows. So this is the look of it. And you do get a really nice sized mirror here. One thing that I like about these Vice palettes is that when you sit this palette down on your surface, whether it's a counter, your makeup vanity, or anything like that, this mirror kind of sort of falls back at the perfect angle so that you can see your entire face. So if I'm holding it in front of me and I'm looking down, I can see my entire face, I can see my background, I can see everything. It's a good quality mirror and it's the perfect size for doing your entire makeup. So if you were to take this on travel or on vacation or for the holidays coming up soon, this might be a good enough mirror for you to get by and do your entire face. Now the colors, these are the color selections. So you have a mixture of some wearable shades, you have some that are a little bit brighter, like these greens and kind of teal colors here. I do have to say that I like the color selection. I think that I would get a lot of use out of these because I wear different colors. Not so much like the brighter shades, but I feel like this palette definitely gets me into using more brighter colors because I definitely want to get my money's worth. So I'm going to insert some photos of the swatches so that you guys can see what they look like. The swatches, I did apply them with a brush that's slightly damp because what I was doing is wiping the brush down on a makeup remover wipe in between swatches because I broke them down in like fours. Every 4 shadows I swatched on my hand. So I would wipe it down and then pass it through a tissue so that I could go with the next color. So this brush was slightly damp. I feel like a lot of these will swatch the same dry. You do have a few like Flame, which is this kind of orange, it's like an orangey gold color. That one I feel like it's a little bit on the chunky side, so definitely use that with the brush that's been dampened with Fix Plus. MAC Mixing Medium or eye drops, it's the cheapest way. I got some eye drops from Target for less than $1. And you can foil all of these if you wanted to, but a lot of them have a nice sort of creamy texture, like this one here. This purple one is called Harlot. It's what I have in the inner corner today. And it's just sort of like a natural look because when you look at this, you think, oh, you know, it's going to be really dark or really bold and vibrant. So I wanted to just kind of share with you. I'll probably insert a photo of this look at some point. But I do like it, so I think that this palette is good if you are looking for some different colors to play around with this season. If you are a true Urban Decay lover, this is probably something that you already have on your list, or you may have already purchased it. Now, for the look that I'm wearing today, and just something that I feel like I need to mention, is that this palette, I feel like it's lacking just a little bit on some sort of mid-tone shades. You have 4 mattes, and for me, there's only 2 colors out of the 4 that you can actually use as crease colors or outer V shades, and that's going to be Bitter and Delete. Bitter is a red brown. It's really, really warm. I love it. It's right up my alley, so it's not a big deal for me. And then Delete is a nice kind of milk chocolate brown that's also matte. But you don't have anything sort of in the middle of the road, so I feel like that's what's lacking. The only shade in this palette that I feel like is just meh, okay, which is to be expected. You're not going to be in love with every single color. Or maybe you just are if the brand gets it right. The color Grip, which is the second on the top row, I feel like that one, it's a soft gray with some silver sparkle. Had they taken that and made that just a matte soft gray, it would have been better. Or if they would have just gotten rid of that color entirely and put in something a little bit cooler but still kind of brown. So for this look, I did have to come in with some of my Sonia Kashuk colors. I used this sort of like cooler tan and then this one here. So both of them are still kind of tan and brown but have a bit of a cooler quality to them, and that's what I feel like is lacking in this palette. So I would have liked to have seen something like those 2 shades in here, because when you think of a palette, you want the palette to be something that you can use entirely to do your look from start to finish, and not have to bust out another palette or a single shadow or a couple products to make the palette work. Now, in my preference, it doesn't bother me because this is already sitting on my counter because I love this so much. I love mixing brands and other palettes, shadows, and just mixing it all together, so to me it's not a big deal. But if you want something that's going to be from start to finish, I feel like you're going to have a hard time with this, because you're either going to get something really dark with Delete, which is a dark brown, or you're going to get something super, super warm, which is Bitter. Nothing kind of in the middle of the road. And honestly, even if you were to use Grip, which is one of the lighter shades in the palette, that silver fleck that's in it, I feel like it's not an appropriate crease color, because you want crease colors to just be matte, because if you're going to be using some of these other colors with glitter and with metallic finishes, you want some mattes to kind of ground the look and make it more wearable, because you're going to look like a hot mess wearing something super metallic on the lid, something metallic in the crease, and then another metallic or sparkly shade on the brow bone. It's just too much. You kind of have to break it up and incorporate some mattes, which is why I definitely think the Sonia Kashuk palette is a must-have. And another thing is that some of these that have that glitter sparkle, I feel like the formula on these are really, really good. I have always mentioned that I don't like glitter shadows, especially from Urban Decay, because when I got into Urban Decay over 6 years ago, when I discovered the brand, I tried some of their glitter shadows, and I got a bunch of chunky fallout, a couple of, you know, flecks here and there, and a lot of like glitter under the eye. And it's a pain in the ass, really, to get the glitter off. Now, I feel like over the years, they've kind of sort of have been listening to people, I guess, and have tried to improve the formula and definitely get it so that you have some pigment. You want to start off with a pigmented shadow and then add that sparkle or that extra kind of glitter effect to it. You don't want it to be just glitter and then when you put it on, it flies everywhere and you see no color. To me, that's pointless. It's a waste of money. And I feel like these that have that sort of glitter, you see this one here, this is Low, which is a dark charcoal with a lot of chunky glitter. It is going to have a lot of fallout, but as you can see from a distance, there is some color behind it, which is what I am getting at. And Crowbar as well, it's another one that has a lot of chunky sparkle. It feels a little drier, and it's got that olivey, sort of goldeny olive undertone to it. So it's going to show the color, but you're going to get the sparkle effect. And the same thing with Flame. It's going to have not as glittery, it's more metallic than these other two, but they have some pigment to them, which I feel like they're sort of like listening and improving their formula. For me, it was something that always turned me off from Urban Decay, their glitter shadows. I was never like, oh no, I stay away, I don't want it. So I feel like they've improved that, and if you are wanting to try some of their glitter shadows with their newer formula, then you might enjoy this. Now, they do say on the Urban Decay website that there's a proprietary blend that's going to prevent any fallout or any sort of like I don't know, just flaky stuff. Now, I did have some fallout with Flame, which is the orangey gold that I did a tutorial on. I'm not sure if it's up. If it is, I will link it up here or in the description box. But that color, I definitely had some fallout. And some of the other ones that are a little bit on the chunkier side with the glitter, you will see some. So I don't think that you should hold that claim completely true. Maybe for the shimmers and the mattes, those work really well. And I didn't have any fallout when doing this look today. So I do think that it's a good palette. It's not like the best. I wouldn't say you have to go out and get it. Like, this is a must-have, drop everything right now, pause the video, go buy and come back and see me. It's not that type of palette, but it could be. It just depends on your preference. So now I have all of the Vice palettes that I have. The first one, the third one, and this fourth one. And something that I'm noticing that it's sort of a thing that Urban Decay does is that in the original Vice palette, there's a color that's called Junkie, which I will show you. This is the original one. Has this packaging like this. Super dirty and fingerprints. It has this one right here that is kind of like a goldeny teal green. And although there isn't any in the third or this fourth one that is exactly the same, there is similarity because each one of these palettes has like a bluish teal. The Vice 3 palette has a color called Dragon, which looks like this. And then the new one has this color here, which is called Grasshopper. So from a distance, they look very similar. When you swatch them, they're just slightly deeper. I think this is Dragon from Vice 3. This one is a little bit more of like a yellowy green. This is a little bit deeper, and the finish is much more metallic on the Grasshopper from the Vice 4. They also have purples. Each one of these palettes has a purple. This is, I don't know the order of them, but one of them is Vice, Vanity, and Underhand. I think this is Underhand maybe. And they also have a darker purple. This dark purple here is beat down from the 4. So I feel like they all have so these are all the purples from mixture from Vice 1, 3, and 4. These are the purples. So they all have very similar quality to them. There is similar darker shades. Like here is, this is called Penny Lane from the first one. You have something a little bit deeper in the second one called Lucky. And then you have Flame, which they're all in the same color family. So I hope that you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to say here, is that there's a lot of similarities. Even though the colors are slightly different, they're all under the same color family. So there's a couple more. This matte color here is called Framed, and this is from the Vice 4, and it's kind of similar to, let me show you, this one here. On my index finger, this is Undone from Vice 3, and if you wanted to, it's like taking Undone and Truth from the Vice 3 palette, mixing it together, you would get the color Framed from Vice 4. So very similar. Again, the three of them are in the same color family. Very subtle differences. So that's one thing that I'm noticing. The only thing that's kind of different is that the Vice 4 has the shade called 1985. I'm not trying to flip you off here. It's similar but yet different. This one, this pink one here is called Noise. It's a fuchsia pink with gold flecks or gold glitter. This is from the first Vice palette. And then 1995. So there's subtle differences, but again, same color family. So hopefully you get the idea of what I'm trying to say here, that a lot of these Vice palettes, although the colors are different, they say, oh, it's brand new, they're very similar to the other ones. I don't feel like it's that terribly unique. I like it. I will use it. I feel like the looks that I've done with it so far, I feel like they've blended and come together really nicely. But because I'm such an Urban Decay fan, I have so many of their palettes from the Book of Shadows. I have Book of Shadows from like years ago that I still have collecting them. They're like, they're sentimental to me, so I don't want to throw them away. So I have those, a couple other palettes, and then some of the Vice palettes. So I feel like within the mixture of my collection, I'm going to come across colors that are very similar. So if that's the case, then that might be something that you want to skip. If it's for you, if you have a lot of Urban Decay stuff, you may see some similarities between the new Vice 4 and other things. I also want to mention that it does come with a pouch, just like the third Vice palette did. It comes with like a little makeup bag that you can use for travel, or you can store your palette in there if you're going to travel with it, or just storing it, but I do like the whole shattered glass look, and it also has that sort of silver holographic look to it, so I think that's really cool. So I hope that this review was helpful and that it wasn't too lengthy, but I definitely wanted to kind of give you my overall opinion on them. I do think it's, you know, they blend well, they're very pigmented, fallout is there, but it's not as bad. They're beautiful. I love Urban Decay shadows. I think that they make really great ones. They're one of the best on the market. So I hope that it was helpful. If you have any other questions or anything that you want to ask or any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section, because I always go through the comments and I respond. I love interacting with you guys, and if you want to share your opinions, leave them down below as well so that someone else watching the video can see other people's opinions. Don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up the video, like it. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. It's at glamourbylexi, and I also have Snapchat. Yes, I'm on the Snapchat bandwagon, so I will put all my information down in the description box, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.